Hi, I'm Athena Critiques, and this is part 2 of the Volume 2 Monster High discussion. So, in episode 12, Road to Monster Nationals, Draculaura is seen lying in a wooden coffin, which is weird because obviously we didn't see her loading the coffin onto the bus at any point before they arrived, so they maybe must have made it whilst at Gloom Beach. It's just a bit strange, obviously, because we've not seen her sleep or sit in a coffin before, because usually coffins are stereotypically to keep sunlight out and to like keep vampires from the harm that they face following exposure to the sunlight, but it's obviously seen in Monster High because they wanted to take a softer approach so that the sun isn't sensitive for them. So she doesn't actually seem to need to sleep in a coffin. Maybe she just did it for aesthetic purposes, but like as we've seen her walk in front of sunlight before and not be affected in any shape or form, it's just a bit strange that she randomly had decided to have a coffin made for her stay. Maybe it's just a comfort thing, maybe, I'm not sure. Also, the discrimination that like the salt water and the fresh water like do like with each other is like, come on now, like, we're all monsters here. And exactly like they're the same type of, like, monster. They're all sea monsters, so I don't see why they have to be so, like, prejudiced against each other. Maybe they wanted to do a whole, like, Romeo and Juliet thing with, like, Gil and Laguna, but, like, just spare the drama. Like, we're all equal here, you know? Like, Monster High's whole thing is about, like, promoting equality and accepting people for who they are and their right to be freaky fabulous, you know? So I just hope there's some progression with Gil's parents and such. Also, the routine that Cleo came up with for the competition wasn't even that good. Like, I don't know how they expected to win, but then their second routine that they had to resort to after Toralei stole theirs was even worse. Like, I really don't know why everyone went so crazy for it. Why everyone's so crazy for it. Also, it was really weird that we didn't actually see any other teams that were performing. Obviously, there's a competition that was really important to the school and definitely to Cleo. And it got like a lot of views, they got a lot of support to go to this competition, but there surely would be more than one other team, you know, because we saw the Vampire Academy girls, but that's all we saw, like, during the entire stay. So I don't actually know how many teams were performing, like, how difficult it was to, like, beat everyone. It just seems weird they only showed one team, but I guess, like, less work to design. They're, like, so creepy. Oh yeah, and then when the ghouls, like, win the competition, they just decide to leave the staff with Toralei, as if she's not, like, the main antagonist of this story right now. I don't understand why they'd trust her with something so, like, important, especially because they're gonna have to take it back to school. And like, a few episodes later, we do see the staff being displayed in one of the cases in Monster High hallway. So obviously Toralei did give it back in the end, so I don't know, that just seems kind of like untrue to her character. Surely she'd want to scheme some more about that. Speaking of the staff, is it like a loan basis sort of thing? Because it seems to happen, these competitions, like, quite regularly, so then surely they'd have to give the staff back unless they like have a new one every year. And we've not seen them try again to like win the competition, so I'm not sure if that's to come. Perhaps I've forgotten that it has been quite a while. In episode 13, Queen of the Scammed, Toralei is revealed to be the editor of the Fear Book, which is really strange because, like, traditionally, like, the Fear Book would be like a committee that comes together in order to bring it into fruition. So she would have been elected, like, right, to be the editor on this team, which is really weird because the only friends that she seemed to have, the only people that seem to like her, are the Werecats. She's not very popular, so I doubt it would be that kind of vote. Unless maybe Headmistress Bloodgood or one of the teachers that have seen her, like, literary skills, perhaps they suggested her to be the editor, but I feel like it's a bit odd because there are so many other people, more liked people, that are just as, like, good at, like, editing and writing and stuff, that could have had her position. It just feels weird that somebody of her reputation would be allowed to be in that team, especially as she then, like, has control over how every person in the school is being, like, displayed and talked about. Also, it was kind of funny the way that Draculaura, like, actively approached Claude and was like, why didn't you write back to me? And he was like, I did. And she was like, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to talk to you right now. And then she throws that ball and then he, like, has to run away from her because, like, dogs chase and stuff. But it's like, bro, like, you're the one that approached him, asking stuff to him, and then when he tries to respond, you're like, I don't even want to talk to you right now. Like, come on, girly. I mean, not that I'm not like that sometimes. But, you know, sometimes you just want to tell somebody why you're mad, and then when they try to, like, defend themselves, you just don't want to hear it right now. You're not in the frame of mind to hear it. But then maybe wait so that you're ready to hear their side of the story. I don't know. Also, it's weird that Gil, like, turned around and was like, oh, I actually can't be with you, Laguna, because my parents don't like your kind. But then she, like, is like, oh, okay, fine. And then she, like, leaves, and then Gil, like, chases after her. He's like, oh, no, Laguna. But, like, you've just told her that you don't want to be with her. You're not going to be with her, so why are you chasing after her like you want to? Like, I guess he does technically, but if you want to that bad, then just cut the drama and be with her, goddamn. Also, with them mentioning of the Friday the 13th, didn't like they just have one a few episodes ago? There was one in 2011, which was like fairly recent in regards to the timeline. However, there only appears to be one, like, on average 1.7 times per year. So unless maybe this is a new year, or maybe in this Monster High universe they have like more frequent Friday the 13th. In episode 14, Friday the 13th, we're introduced to Nightmare, finally, Headmistress Bloodgood's horse, and she's so cutesy. I love Nightmare, she's adorable. But did she really have to jump through that window and, like, shatter it? Like, there was a door right there, sweetie pie. It continually astounds me, though, that they keep letting teachers and students go to the school when it's Friday the 13th. Like, surely if it's such a bad luck day and you know everything's going to go wrong, then why would you still be having classes? Like, Headmistress Bloodgood and Nightmare, like, actively scared, seemingly, on this day. So, like, just go home, have a rest, take a day off. Also, Headmistress Bloodgood is such a great headmistress. Like, imagine, like, you just, like, let people go to school, like, on a day where you know everything's gonna, like, fall apart and they're gonna be scared as hell. And then also, you know that there's, like, this sort of creature lurking about your halls, and you don't know who it is, and you don't know where they are. But you know that people have heard about them, and there's, like, this rumour going around about them. But you haven't investigated it, because you don't really care. And then these girls come up to you, and they're like, hey, can we stay overnight on Friday the 13th? And knowing all of this, you go, and then you just allow them to stay over. And you don't even, like, put any, like, safety precautions in place. You're just like, yeah, there's some sort of creature apparently lurking about these halls, and you're going to stay here for the night, and I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to break my window and go home. Also, Draculaura is saying that her and Claude, like, split up. They never actually became official, because obviously a few webisodes ago, Draculaura was like, oh, like, I could be your girlfriend kind of thing, and then Claude didn't even get to say anything, she just ran away. And then they haven't talked, basically, since then. Obviously, she sent him some letters, and he sent her some back, but she didn't actually get to read what he had to say, because Claudine was taking all of the letters. So, like, they were never actually together. Also, it was a cute giant guy's birthday. That was adorable. It's just weird to see, like, the monsters so afraid of him just because he's a bit big. Like, they are monsters, so surely they should be used to this sort of thing. Like, they all look different. They all would be scary to someone, you know? But they're not scared of each other, so why are they just suddenly scared of, like, this bigger guy? Like, if you're not afraid of a woman that can take her own head off, like, I think you'll be okay. In episode 15, Hoodoo, like, it's kind of funny, the scene. So, Laguna's walking past Toralei, and Toralei's doing a Cleo imitation, and Laguna turns around and she's like, Cleo? It's like, oh my god. That's so funny, because H2O. Anyway, sorry, I just realised that's really funny. But yeah, she's like, she thinks it's Cleo for some reason, just like in Toralei's body, perhaps, which is actually quite funny, because considering in Freaky Fusion, when Cleo and Toralei are the ones who literally fuse together. But like, surely you gotta know, you gotta realise that, like, she's imitating her. Also, why is Toralei so notoriously good at, like, imitating people's voices? Like, surely she would be using that more often to, like, get a career out of it, but also, like, for her antagonistic purposes. Also, has Frankie not learned her lesson about pretending she has a boyfriend? Like, girly pops, you're better than that, don't do it. To be fair, she only did that in New Gaul at school, so, like, that was a different universe. I'll forgive her just this once. But her dragging around Hoodoo's body like that is actually an insane move. She looks a certain way, and, like, she just thinks that nobody's gonna notice when she, like, talks as if she's him. Like, even though her mouth is, like, literally moving, she's sat in front of people going, like, I don't know, like, ventriloquy. But Yeah, that was a really weird scene. And he only actually comes to life when she pushed him off the bench and she's like, oh, actually, like, yeah, I don't need to do this. I don't need to be with him. Like, I don't need a boyfriend kind of thing. And then he gets, like, upset about that. But, like, so was he just, like, pretending the entire time that he wasn't, like, alive? Was he just waiting for the right moment? Like, just letting Frankie talk for him and everything and drag him around? Or did he only come to life when she pushed him? I feel like that's a bit of a strange event. Maybe she gave him some electricity when she pushed him or something. That would be an explanation. In episode 16, Fear Pressure, Draculaura evidently gets woozy at the sight of meat. I'm still, like, bothered about that because as a vampire, obviously, you genuinely wouldn't, but, you know, she's a vegetarian vampire, so it's slightly different. But even, like, considering that, she has grown up in, like, a vampire court. She's grown up with vampires alongside her. So surely she would have been exposed to enough, like, blood and meat that she wouldn't get woozier. It's like she's never seen it in her life before. Plus, she's always eating lunch with Claudine. Like, it's her best friend. Like, she surely would have seen her best friend eat some meat at some point. So why is she's still got such a strong reaction? Maybe she just doesn't work well with exposure therapy. And it's a bit odd that Claude doesn't actually know that Draculaura is a vegetarian. Like, you've apparently known her since you were a pup, you know, and I saw somewhere that Draculaura babysat him when he was younger, so, like, surely if you've known her for that long, then you'd know that she's a vegetarian. Does that mean that she never had a reaction in front of him, like he never ate meat accidentally in front of her before, or did she just, like, keep her reactions, like, minimal? But then why? She surely wouldn't have cared what a child thought about her. Unless Draculaura pulled a Jacob and, like, imprinted on this baby and was like, I'm gonna marry him when I'm older. Also, it's strange that Draculaura fainted at the sight of a steak but not a burger. Like, they're both meat. Maybe different types of meat give her different reactions. It's just very out of character as well for Claudine to, like, take the mick out of Draculaura behind her back about her being vegetarian. She's like, oh, she's not like one of us, she's not as good as us because she doesn't like meat and she, like, faints when she sees meat. It's not so embarrassing. Like, she's your best friend, Claudine. Back off. So Toralei mentions that there are graduating seniors, which means that you are actually allowed to leave Monster High at some point, believe it or not. It's not actually specified, like, how many years you have to stay there. I guess it might be different depending on your life expectancy, because obviously vampires will maybe be there longer than wolves or werecats. We're also finally introduced to Jackson. I quite like Jackson. I obviously prefer Holt, but we haven't got to that yet. I'm not really sure why Heath introduced Jackson to Juice as a normie though, because obviously he must know that he's not a normie. Like, first of all, he's his cousin, so he's related to him, so he must know Jackson's parents. So he must know Jackson's parents are monsters, which makes Jackson a monster. Right? Also, I don't like how when it does come out that Jackson is, like, Holt, they still call Jackson half normie, and he, like, calls himself that. It's like, well, no, because you're a monster. Like, the reason that you have an ability to change into a different person, like a blue man with red hair, and, you know, like, that's an ability, that's a power. So you can't just be, like, a normal human person and not a monster. Like, I don't agree with the fact that he's half normie. Like, his power is that he's Jekyll and Hyde. So he is just fully a monster, even if he may not look like it in Jackson form. But, you know, Cleo doesn't really look like a monster, and she's a mummy, so, you know, looks deceive. Also, I'm very glad that eventually Claudine does apologise, and she also lets Claude and Draculaura be together. The cutest couple has been reunited. We love it. I honestly don't even know what I've done if, like, Draculaura and Claude weren't meant to be together. Like, who would I have shipped? I mean, I would have shipped Claudine and Draculaura then, but, like, you know, I love me some Claude, so. And what is his plan? Like, is he planning on never eating meat in front of Draculaura ever again? Like, at a certain point, if you're, like, married, if you're having kids, can they have kids? Yeah, no, can they? I don't, like, vampires, can they? I don't know. No, surely, yeah. Well, anyway, so, like, they'd get married, like, live together sort of thing. So, he's, like, never gonna eat meat in front of her. Like, as a wolf, surely he needs to do that. You know, can't she just build her up some more, exposure therapy sort of thing? Like, if you see it, like, more often in smaller amounts, and maybe you build it up, and then maybe you get used to it and you don't faint all the time. But if he's literally planning on never eating meat in front of her again, quite the commitment, like, we gotta respect that. In episode 17, Fear the Book, we learn for definite that Gulia speaks a different language, which is obviously zombie speak. and Iris doesn't, meaning that not every monster speaks Ghoulies language, which is quite interesting because it obviously confirms that Frankie was like hardwired speaking multiple languages. I wonder if she can speak them all, or whether they just like invested in like the biggest ones. Maybe Zombie Speak is like more popular than, I don't know, Norwegian in this universe, but don't know. Also, how did Toralei get all of those balloons in Cleo's locker? It seems like virtually impossible. There were so many. I know they're not like very big, but if they pop, you know, like they can't be too closed in. There's not enough room in that locker for that. And like the one time that we see, like the first time we see Claudine like carry a bag is like when Toralei conveniently puts some eggs in. Like, we've never seen her like carry a bag before, and like, how convenient. Also, it doesn't even match her aesthetic. Like, when I think of Claudine, I think of like a big dark purple leather bag with like studs all over it, sort of like her belt pattern. Also, I really hate the line. It's like such a cliche, like, I don't even know who you are anymore, because they're the same person. Like, you just have been refusing to see those sides of them or to dwell on them, but they're still the same person that they was like 5 minutes ago. Like, Laguna says that to Gil, and it's like he's the same person that said, oh, I can't see you anymore because my friends don't like what type of monster you are. Like, he's that same person, you know. Why are you so surprised that he's acting this way? I do love her seeing her stand up for herself, though. It was good to see. Although in episode 18, Desperate Hours, Gil does finally come out as one, would say to his parents and say, like, I like this Laguna, even though like, she's a different type of sea creature to me, and like, that's great. It's about time, let's just say. Also, why can't the girls tell Mr. Rotter about Toralei's schemes? Like, if they're gonna get in trouble for dropping those balloons, then surely they would warn, even if not Mr. Rotter, somebody else in the area, so they would have said it beforehand, so that they can't get in trouble when Toralei tries to pin it on them. Also, it was like a bit random that like Mr. Rotter was during the graduation ceremony. He just started speaking about like, oh, some students did really well in math class and now they're going to math camp in the summer. How cool is that? And the graduating people are just sat there like, and like same, like I graduate this month. And I'd be a bit weirded out if some teacher from my school just randomly started talking about people that were still going there and their achievements. I'd be like, okay, but we're graduating, sweetie, think of the important things. Also, if the Werecats didn't want to go to summer camp, then surely they could have just not gone. Like, they could have said to their parents they didn't want to go, or they could have just, like, not got on the bus. Nobody could have forced them if they didn't want to. There are, of course, powerful enemies. And also, they could have even explained to Mr. Rotter, like, somebody changed their results. Like, if Mr. Rotter had gone to their maths teacher and, like, asked about their grades in maths and how they've been doing, then surely he would have realised that something was afoot, like, I guess maybe if they went to Mr. Rotter and explained about the maths thing, then he'd have to know about the pranks as well and they get in trouble for that. But surely, like, if you don't want to go to camp, then don't go. In episode 19, Misinformation was finally introduced to Spectra Wondergeist. I love Spectra. I used to have her doll, and I also had a light-up version, which was really cool. It lit up, like, from the ankles kind of thing, so it was a nice gradient. Oh, she's just so cool. Although, like, you don't really get to see much about her, like, within the first few episodes that she's introduced, she kind of looks nefarious, but, like, still, she's spooky cute. You don't actually know what her intentions are, either, at the start. Like, it's not clear whether she's, like, actively sabotaging Cleo by having that party thrown at her house, or whether she just, like, heard the wrong bits and kind of pieced it together to make up her own dramatic story. But also, we introduced Manny Tor. Hilarious name, not hilarious guy. His voice is so annoying, it's so grating. It's like just a teenage angsty boy whose voice keeps breaking. I love when Frankie tells him off, like, yes, you tell that bully off, babe. You put him in his place. I love when she's like, it's so iconic. I really love Frankie and Jackson together as well. Like, they're just so sweet. They're like such a power couple. Also, why did Claude put his dirty socks in Claudine's locker? Like, why would you put your socks in your sister's locker? That's such brother behaviour. Like, can you not, though? Also, if everybody thinks that Jackson's a normie, then surely they'd be, like, questioning why Headmistress Bloodgood let him into the school. Because obviously, at the end of the day, it's Monster High. Like, it's not for normies. I know she eventually wants to expand, but, like, we're not at that point yet. So, like, wouldn't they be like, oh, why is this a normie here? And also, why did Jackson even say yes to going to the party when he knows what happens to him when he, like, hears music? I feel like if he just grabbed some like noise cancelling headphones, he could call it a day. Just start to like lip read and then you'd be fine. Also, damn, there's such like minimal security at Cleo's place. Like, it's a place of royalty basically, you know, and they've got so much expensive stuff, and they're like, we're like not even gonna put like an ID thing on, we're not gonna put a number on. You can just press this like beetle and it's gonna like let you inside, it's gonna open the doors. Like, okay, I feel like they'd just be getting robbed like infinitely, I think. Anyway, also, it's weird that Cleo is so excited about like the surprise party. Like when she just got done telling the ghouls about how much trouble she got into when Nephra blamed her for having a party last time. Like she was like grounded for a few weeks, and she's like, "Oh, surprise party, yippee!" Like not even thinking about it. Little does she know what's to come. Anyway, so that's part 2, and I'll be continuing to talk about episode 20 and onwards in my next video, so make sure to check out that soon. Okay, bye!